I'm sorry, how are you?
I'm here. How are you?
Good. Okay. Well, I like the topic that we chose for today, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Are you ready to start the show?
Why not?
Hey, everyone, and welcome back to One Man and One Woman, the podcast. I am one half of your co hosts, Tara Michelle.
And I am J. Flan.
Today, we're going to be talking about a subject that I actually was just talking about at work, and it seems to be on the minds of a lot of people, and it's seasonal depression. Um, It's also called SAD, I guess. That's the acronym for it. So, seasonal affective disorder. And with this type of depression, what they categorize it as is a mood disorder characterized by depression that occurs at the same time every year. Seasonal affective disorder occurs in climates where there is less sunlight at certain times of the year. So I'm in the Midwest, and when I wake up in the morning, it's dark. And by the time I'm leaving work, it's dark. So if I don't take that special time during the day to walk outside of the office and even just walk around the parking lot or go stand um, out in the middle where there's like this gazebo looking thing, but there's no top to it, to collect the beauty of the sun, I would literally miss it every day except for on the weekends. So I thought it was important to talk about this because so many people are suffering from it right now. And I would just like to offer some help in case there's anyone out there who isn't even aware that that is what's happening to them. Have you ever heard of this?
Yeah, I definitely heard of it. I don't know. I suffer with depression, and I know I probably should definitely see an uptick around this time of year. For a lot of sentimental things, a lot of things that tug at emotions, and it just could be easy triggers. So yeah, I can imagine it's a tough time for a lot of people.
Yeah, especially you're right around the holidays. Um, So I want to kind of sort of speak to the fact that I think this might be affecting me. And I think it might have been affecting me much longer than I ever knew about this name or this, syndrome or mood disorder. But when I was younger, I always liked the dark. I got to hide in the dark. I couldn't be found in the dark. So as an adult, when I bought my first house, I actually bought a house with no windows in the bedroom. Um, it was no wonder I was pale as a vampire. It's not like I have that much melanin now, but it was a different level of crazy then. So for me, having the preference of being in the dark, I don't think I understood how much that would weigh on me mentally and emotionally. I liked being alone all the time. So again, those are signs of depression, like wanting to be alone, not wanting to be around people, not wanting to talk to people. For some people, when they're really into it, they no longer care about hygiene. Like you may find that you aren't washing your hair as often as you should, or taking showers at all, or brushing your teeth. These are triggers and things that are normally inconsistent with what you would do in your normal routine. That's self care, taking care of your hygiene. Those can be signs. I almost want to say subtle signs because there are parts of depression that can get really dark and really huge. But I think not taking care of your hygiene is, is significant. So I don't want to say subtle, but for anyone out there who might be going through this, you're becoming a recluse, you're withdrawing from people, feeling just overwhelming sadness or loneliness, but at the same time, still wanting to withdraw from people. Other symptoms they say are fatigue. Of course, I was talking about the signs of depression, hopelessness, and social withdrawal. So I already spoke to that. Oh, I might need to get my degree in this. It also says that in your mood, people might experience anxiety, apathy, general discontent. loneliness, loss of interest, mood swings, or sadness. As far as sleep goes, you might have excess sleepiness, insomnia, or sleep deprivation. For your whole body, you might have a change in appetite, which is an increase or a decrease, or fatigue, and behaviorally, irritability or social isolation. So, if any of this sounds like you might be
All of
going through some type of seasonal time of the year. Again, as J Dot said, it could have something to do with the holidays. I just recently, October 5th, lost my grandmother. And I know Thanksgiving is going to be extremely weird and different and difficult. It's always like that when it's the first time, when you lose someone. So the holidays are always, hard for those who don't have their parents or their grandparents or a child or someone that they love. But you have anything you want to add to this? Any different types of symptoms? Maybe even something that you do to combat symptoms?
I mean, I know for me, this can be a rough time of year because and my alcoholism and addiction, uh, is what prompted my wife to leave, and so I haven't. I'm thousands of miles away from what's home and where family is for me. The family I have here is you know, my ex-wife and her family and my daughter, and holidays are always a kind of a reminder of what I lost or what I gave away, and especially when you have a kid with the person, you kind of still have to have like a front row seat to somebody else's family, and then I'll go over there for Thanksgiving, and then have to come back home. You know, it's just me, and so yeah, I can imagine there are a lot of people, dealing with family issues like that, being away from your kids, not being able to be there, or having to deal with the stress of it on your own because the other person isn't there. I can imagine, a lot of scenarios where the holidays, could be a trigger for some people. So check on your friends, check on your strong friend, make sure they're okay.
Okay, so some of the other offerings are suggestions for therapy, to combat this specific type of affective disorder, I guess. Therapy. So, we're really big on this show with talking about going to therapy if you have access to it, if you can afford it, if there are free programs in your area, find you someone to talk to get through things like this.
Now, I was gonna say a lot of jobs have EAP programs,
Hmm.
and you'll have access to at least a couple free sessions. I know it was something I wasn't aware of until it was probably too late for me. So just take a look at it. You could probably get some help a lot easier than you think.
Yes. I know with my EAP at my job, you get 6 sessions. And the beautiful thing about it is if you go and you talk to someone and they aren't your cup of tea, then you can keep trying until you find someone you like. And if that person has their own practice or they work somewhere else full time, you can apply to be, a new patient with them through your insurance. So yeah, lots of avenues out there. Depending on where you live, I'm sure you can Google some things and find them out regarding therapy. I personally think therapy should be free. I think we have enough going on in this world with people that clearly we need it. People just aren't okay
Yeah.
lately, and some of them would be if they had access to you know, someone who could guide them and lead them in the right direction. Um, I was in therapy for 10 years and I miss Mike, and he was super amazing, and I've yet to ever find another therapist like him, but the tools he gave me really do help me keep the depression at bay. Every day. Sometimes it's a little harder when I'm going through something, and 2024 has absolutely kicked my ass, but it's all right. So again, they were talking about therapy. They also said sunlight therapy, which I was going to mention. Look, everyone, if you wake up in the dark and you get off in the dark, you have to go outside. If you normally work through your 15-minute breaks, normally work through your lunch or sit at your desk for lunch, first of all, You're human. Get up out of that building. Give yourself a break. Change the scenery. Go outside and absorb the sun. Get your vitamin D. Get some warmth if you can. It's like 30 some odd degrees here, so there's not much warmth to be found, but the sun is still beautiful when it's out. You're also gonna maybe run into the fact that like today, it was dreary and it was raining all day. So there was no sun out, but there was something about me going outside and standing in the parking lot that just made me feel better than being in the building. And there was still some kind of light in the sky, even if it was gray. And I know that even during clouds and things like that, like the UVA, UVB, somebody's rays from the sun still come through and you can get sunburned. So that means to me something's going on and it's better than being in the building. So sunlight therapy. There's also something called phototherapy, light therapy, which photo light therapy, which I think is similar to that. What does it say? Light therapy may improve your symptoms. So basically, it's like having a little fake sun, keeping
Yeah.
yourself illuminated, I guess, to make you feel better. Because sometimes darkness is equated with depression. If you keep the lights on, boogeyman can't find you, kind of thing.
Yeah. Now you need the sunlight. I didn't realize how important it was until I worked somewhere where, like you said, during this time of year, when I got in the morning, it was dark. When I left in the afternoon, it was dark. It was one of those buildings you never had to leave. You got all your places to eat and your gym and everything in the building. And you just go days and days and days and without sunlight. And before you know it, it starts weighing on you. So, yeah, that's definitely one to keep in mind.
Yeah. Okay, so something I wrote down was meditation. I think this is the hardest for people because a lot of times it's hard to turn off your mind. A lot of us ruminate. For anyone who does not know what rumination is or what it means to ruminate, it means when you fixate on a thought, phrase, sentence, whatever, over and over and over again. And sometimes you find that you might have started a thought at 12 noon, and the next time you look at the clock, it's 3 o'clock. Like it can be really, really bad. And that is definitely a bad habit of mine. The thing that you have to understand is that meditation isn't a one time fix all type of thing. You might have to start out very small, like doing some breathing sessions for a minute, working your way up to 5 minutes, doing a little 5 minute videos, maybe throw some yoga in if you can, as far as you can stretch. But you really want to train yourself to be able to control the way that you think and control your mind. Um, it's not easy to learn to turn the thoughts and the words off. But if all you're doing is living every day, that's what you're doing. You're living every day. Then you have 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes to give to yourself to practice. And eventually it gets easier. And eventually it works better and better. There's so many apps out here, so many YouTube videos. Like there are guided meditations, there are breathing, there are group. There's so much for you to do out here if you just want to give it a try, especially if you want anonymity.
There we go.
Then you can do some stuff through YouTube and nobody has to know what you're practicing on. Another thing that ties into meditation for me and also with the rumination is mindful thinking. This is something I learned from my therapist, Mike. Um, he would tell me when I couldn't stop ruminating to go in the kitchen and wash the dishes, to turn the water on, run my fingers underneath the water and feel it. I never knew just how aerated, how many bubbles were in that when they were coming out. Like not soapy bubbles, just the water itself and how it feels kind of like a sponge or something on your fingers. It's interesting when you really hone in and focus on the water. Then you put the stopper in, after you get it to the temperature you want it to, pay attention to how cold it is, how hot it is, how long it takes you to get that right temperature, and then put the suds in. Touch the dishwashing liquid and feel how it feels, and then put your hand in the water and see how your fingers feel once it touches the water, and then touch the bubbles. Like, be very intentional to pay attention to every single part of the experience. I also used to go and sit on the front porch and watch the squirrels, which by the way, everybody should try because when I'm telling you squirrels are hilarious. Or birds, whatever you have out there. Just watch how they move, dance, play together, seemingly talk to each other. Maybe sometimes even seem like they're having a conversation about us and how weird we are for sitting there watching them, but it is something that can completely get you out of your head and out of your mind, and it helps. At least it helped me. So it's just a suggestion. If you have friends or loved ones, call up on them. Even if you're too afraid at first to say, I'm not okay, call them and just talk to them. Listen to them. Ask them how they're doing. Make sure that you're communicating with people. Do not isolate in totality. Prayer for those who believe in a higher power. Prayer is always a beautiful, beautiful thing. Trust me. Um, find a new hobby. Get out of the house. If you can get out of the house. I know some people have some limitations physically, but even if it's on the porch, if you want to start knitting, if you want to get into, trying your hand at being a makeup artist, whatever it is, try something new, something you've never done before, and hopefully something that you can do while sitting outside or something you can do um, at a place. You can go somewhere, the library, and, volunteer some hours to read to kids, anything to get you out of the house and out of your normal routine. And what else did I have? Again, limit your time alone. Just limit your time alone so that you don't forget that there are kind people out there and that there are people who care about you and love you. Or if you're a loner and you don't have family or friends, don't forget how beautiful nature is, how beautiful oxygen is, how amazing it is to just feel the wind on your face, even when it's cold, and have you, running around outside trying to get back to the door, rushing to button up your coat. And again, the mindful thinking part of the fact that you were warm in the house. Now you're outside and you're freezing. Now you're scrambling to button up your coat or zip up your coat, and how long that takes, and how does the zipper feel versus how do the buttons feel. Like, there's something you can always be doing to assist you in working your way through this. Um, you have any other suggestions?
Yeah, I want to go back to the meditation thing. Meditation is one of my favorite things. I think it's a beautiful practice. Teach you how to stay in the now, and like you said, how to let a thought go. How to not ruminate on a thought. And there's so many different ways to do it. Uh, you know, I can let me not try. Am I gonna try? I'm gonna try. Transcendental. There we go. I think I pronounced it correct. Transcendental meditation is my favorite. I like group sessions because I like the peer pressure. If everybody else is quiet and still, I don't want to be the one to make the noise first. So it somehow keeps me, in the meditation. When it may be other times that I would quit if it was just me, if nobody else knew. Uh, but and I also think that and then, I started looking at it this way recently that it's a beautiful practice in forgiveness because I think what stops a lot of people from meditating is that when they get into it, the idea is focusing on your breathing or focusing on a thought or a word or something like that, and when people stray away from it, and they find themselves getting off the path, they get upset with themselves like they're not doing it right, and I think when one person finally, expressed to me that like that's what the brain is supposed to do. That's what your mind is supposed to do. So what you do is it's the moment you realize you've gone off into that space, you just come back. You just okay, that's all right, and you come back to your breathing. You come back to your words. Forgiving yourself every time, and not getting so upset that you went off the path, and allowing yourself to go back. And yeah, I think that's one of those beautiful practices because forgiveness is one of those things when we talk about it, we don't um, usually talk about forgiving ourselves. And when it comes to depression, um, a lot of that can be, that we need to forgive ourselves for some things. So yeah, meditation is one of my favorites.
Okay. Thank you for that. So basically, I just wanted to come in here and do this really quick show with you guys because I see us hurting. I think if we're talking about the election, That's going on with people a lot right now. And we seem to be turning on each other instead of reaching for each other and calling out to each other. I think, the economy, jobs and, losing loved ones also seems to be a big thing. Even if you just look at the celebrity amount of celebrities we're losing, it's just an interesting time. And so I felt it important to have us, these normal voices you hear all the time. You guys know how to access us on YouTube. We're here always, coming to remind you that it's okay to not be okay. I am currently so not okay. It's not even funny, but I still wanted to come and record this for you guys and talk to you guys. See, this is my thing. This is one of my things. This is what I'm doing to make sure that I'm not in this room crying consistently or ruminating consistently with all the what ifs and the regrets. And, the mourning process is an interesting one too, because you never know when that's going to kick up. So, um, again, find something that you love to do. Journal. Oh my God, how did I forget that? Even if you're not a writer, if you just journal, just write down your thoughts, only needing for you to have those thoughts to ever revisit. Sometimes it's a beautiful thing if you write down what you've been going through when it feels like everything is just too much. And then in a month or two or three or four, however long it takes you to get over the situation, um, you can come back and read that and see how far you've come. I think that can also be healing as well. I've done that many, many, many times, regarding, job, school, best friends, lovers, all that. You write that down where you're in that place, leave it on the paper. Once you write it down, you have to let it go and leave it on the paper. And then you can always revisit for your healing. Or if you want to throw it away, you can do that too. You mentioned the word. What did you said transcendentalism, or did you use a different
Or just transcend. You won't make me say it again.
transcendental?
See how you do transcendental. There you go. Transcendental meditation. I think.
Okay. So I
Yeah.
remember when you said that, I grabbed my phone because I remember in college when I was getting my master's degree in creative writing from Southern New Hampshire University. Okay. So I had to write a poem called or about that word. So this poem is called Transcendentalism. I'm gonna share it with you guys because it's relatively short. I've never done this before on here, but this was copywritten 2016 by Miss Tara Michelle. My last name. Anyway, the tree of life, it brings me to an awakening of things, many not meant for me, but I embrace this purity, my soul reborn from a bird's song. This earth revolves, and I with it spin, attempting to find that perfect center, a ray of sun to guide me to that peace which lies within, the blades of grass blowing in a cool summer breeze. I am myself alone, unafraid to let all things go. To no possession am I bound, for once I am no more, I leave with which I came. I will fly freely inside my memory, encompassed by all that is clear. Priceless am I and my mind. This life is but a flutter of a butterfly wing. I am here, and this is as real as the rain falling from a cloud, tumbling down to replenish this earth. So if you don't know what transcendentalism is, look it up because I don't remember either. But I do like this poem and it was cute. So, any words of wisdom for the people?
Um. Yeah. I think you mentioned earlier about isolation. I think one of the biggest things to help defeat depression is community. So um, stay in touch with people. I have friends. I have some friends that all I do is text them every day to say good morning. But I think for them, knowing that my good morning text is coming, and or for me, knowing that they expect to get one from me, sometimes keeps us going. So just stay in touch with people. Stay connected. No matter what, there's somebody out there that'll reach back.
Absolutely. Take care of yourself, guys. I say this at the end of every show. I always say, make sure you're, over the next week before you come in back to hear us again, make sure that you are good to yourself and kind to others, or kind to yourself and good to others, both, vice versa. But
Be
honestly,
nice.
in these days and times, take care of yourself. And until next week, holla.
Holla.